Hey, new year, new you, maybe. I don't know. This is the same hat I've been wearing for 5 years. Same shirt I've probably also been wearing for 5 years. So, not everything changes. However, I did make, this is not a fucking lie. I did make maki rolls yesterday and today, and it's so easy, I think I'm gonna keep doing it. It's not a plug. Like, I don't have anything to fucking sell you. I'm just saying, like, I buy cheap ass Kroger sushi, and it's still like $10. And I was like, fuck it. I think I can make this stuff. So, anyways, whatever. And this is different. Is that typically I do beatbox videos at the end of a recording session where I'm my most intoxicated, and this is the first video of the session, so I'm actually the least amount of intoxicated I will be this session. How you doing? Anyways, I heard this was like supposed to be really, really good. I don't know. Is it? Whoa, there's something weird sounding. Oh, is that the wrong speed? Oh, I was watching an instructional video on the Maki shit. That's why it's, I think on knife sharpening. That's why it was sped up. You don't care. Maybe you do. Let's try it again. Wait, that means it's way slower than that? It's half the speed I was just hearing. All right, let's try it again. That's awesome. The first thing that I liked is that, because they didn't repeat it yet, I thought they were going to repeat it. You hear, ba-dum, da-dum. And after that, the harmony's like consistent in the same spots, but having that one leapy note was good. All right, this is definitely one of the best harmonies I've heard in a long time on any beatbox. It's really well thought out. So one of the things you're hearing is where a note inside the harmony, twice we've heard a note descend to another note in the harmony. That's sick. This is like really reminiscent. If you like this style, this is really reminiscent of vocal music from, say, like Renaissance classical era. Not classical, Renaissance Baroque era. Flemish composers like Johannes Ockeghem. Try again.
Life goes on, same old song. If only I had a plan. I'm a wrong road so long.
I like that the bass has a different texture, because most of us who are alive now, when you hear this type of harmony, it kind of can lull you to sleep even though it's beautiful. And so having that aggressive vibrating bass kind of wakes you up a little bit.
I'm a wrong road so long. Why is it so hard to find? Life goes on, same old song. If only I had a plan. I'm a wrong road so long. Why is it?
I also like that the rhythm is not consistent across the parts. Doom, doom, doom. Rhythmically very interesting. See, you can take old styles of music and do something nice with it. So far we've changed the texture of the bass. We now have rhythmic independence between the lines, but we still have classical style harmony or Renaissance style harmony. I mean, most of our Western harmony, unless you're talking about jazz, and even some of that goes back quite a ways.
If only I had a plan. I'm a wrong road so long. Why is it so hard to find? Love goes on, same old song. Why is it so hard to find?
right, this is gonna sound so stupid. I'm gonna back up a second. I want you to watch them, and I'm gonna make a comment. I just want to see what you think, because I just had like this really dumb idea. Okay, so here's my dumb idea, or just an observation. I'm curious to see what you think about it. Right now, it makes sense. We're watching them, the four of them, in like a nice little nature shot where you can see them. It's got some scenery, changing camera angles, and we're listening to the music, and they're kind of just vibing to their own independent flows. What I was realizing is like what we're used to as a culture, right? Of the culture of a certain age, you know, being into like EDM shit or DJ stuff or festivals, whereas maybe our parents weren't into that shit. If these guys were doing the exact same thing with microphones in front of them or headsets or whatever, but they had laptops open in front of them and they were all, each one of them was standing at a table with laptops open, I think everyone would watch it and go, that's so fucking cool. But the fact that you're just seeing them open in the public makes you think of, right? There's a, am I making sense? There's an aesthetic. There's an aesthetic to seeing someone with a guitar or seeing someone behind a laptop versus seeing someone just out in the open. And I'm just thinking about like how much what we see influences what we think sounds good or doesn't sound good, or the coolness of something. And it's like, oh, probably you put these guys in front of some laptops. They don't have to touch the laptops. You just put laptops in front of them. And probably, you know, everyone who's into this style of music, structure, music, whatever, you get it. I'm not gonna beat that fucking dead horse. Dude, the arrangement's so fucking smart. Ba-doo-doo, 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 against the bass line. Like, the independence of it. Obviously, melodically independent, harmonically independent, but also be rhythmically independent. What's the opposite of that? Think about alternative music from the super early 90s or punk music, where drums are going one specific way, the guitar and the bass are both matching the drums, and the guitar and the bass move in the same direction on everything they do. Completely non-independent. Yeah, I guess this is just going to be an analysis video. Also, a lot, okay, other than the vocal melody we had in the beginning, we don't really have what people would typically call a melody. I call them melodic fragments. I mean, you need some way of, all the terminology is to make it easier to describe something in ways other people can like kind of take it in. So like a melodic fragment, something way shorter, like 3 notes could be a melodic fragment or something. So like, they're like little melodic fragments that combined with the rhythmic independence. These are just, okay, what am I saying? I'm saying one dude has a couple of notes with a certain rhythm, and another dude has another couple of notes with a different type of rhythm. And the interplay between them makes it feel like you're hearing a lot of melody, but you're not really. It's just a couple of notes. But between all the voices, it feels like you're hearing a melody. Plus, you have a very clear harmonic structure. Harmonic structure is just a fancy way for talking about the chords. The chords. So why say harmonic structure instead of chords? Chords just mean sets of notes. Harmonic structure means the way you take chords and arrange them together to do something. So the arrangement of the chords, the harmonic structure, is very also clear. Let's beat that horse for a second. Usually resolving to a tonic, either through a 4-chord or a 5-chord. Either through a 4-plagal cadence or a dominant to tonic relationship. A very clear movement through the chords back to home base. The opposite of that would be something like some fucking Radiohead, where it's very ambiguously moving through time. It ends up repeating, but it's not really clear where it's going. It's just like this long meandering journey. Oh, did you notice that? So there was the repeat, life goes on, and then there's another vocal line, another repetition at a certain distance, and then the third time they change the distance to create harmonies. The delay between the voices shortened to create new harmonies. That was fucking cool. Right? Boom. Actually, I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not going to go back. Either the length of time between the repeat shortened, or the length of the phrase was longer, to where you ended up having more notes overlapping each other. It's probably more the second. I'm not going back though. That's fucking awesome trumpet sound. Whatever that popping sound is fucking killer. Dude, it is so similar to like just old school voice leading terms. Voice leading. Voice leading is how you, when the chords change, how do you choose where each note moves to? That's voice leading. So whoever's singing the highest note of a chord, when the next chord happens, he's still going to be the highest note, but does he go down to now the highest note or go up to the highest note? And then you have to map your way through all the chords. The voice leading is very awesome. I'm saying I was thinking on the last like couple of chords, the highest note holds, the chord changes, and then it goes down. No, I think it holds, next chord holds, next chord goes down, next chord goes up for the final chord. Let's see if we can find that. See, all those highest notes are still the same. Here we go. I think it's about to happen. I went back a little far. Let's see. Highest note. Repeating. Repeating. Gone down by half step. Back up by a half step. Right? So when the chords change, you can choose for the hot guy on the highest note. You can choose for him to hold a common tone across the chords if there's a common tone he's already singing. You can choose for him to go down to a color tone or up to a color tone / harmonic tone. A color tone would be like an extension, like a 9 or an 11 or something. It kind of depends on which era you in, which things are color tones, and that's actually how you define eras. Like, what's the difference between Renaissance versus Baroque versus classical? It's not that they all use different notes, it's how they use them and what is considered acceptable and all that. Well, that's how you tell the differences between time periods. But anyways, but I'm saying that idea of holding that note, chord changes, hold the note, chord changes go down a half step, chord changes go back up a half step. That is 100% like the original way of doing functional harmony. I don't know when you'd say that. When would you say that? 1500s? Probably. So it's interesting to me that that there's a lot of things going on that sound like fucking 500-year-old music, but then of course the EDM aspect is probably something you wouldn't have heard until, I don't know, 40 years ago, 30 years ago. So there's a lot of different cool aspects that are being mixed together to make like a new thing. It's pretty dope. Oh, a term I used in there, functional harmony. And these are all terms I learned in school where I was at. So like that's another fucked up part, is that depending on what book you read or who you studied with, you may have completely different terminology for some things. So for me, functional harmony is like harmony where the chords are clearly going away from the tonic and back to the tonic. Tonic being in a major key, the 1 chord, going like 2-5-1 or 2-4-5-1, 1-4-5-1, which would be like blues, and that it very clearly gives you a map. At least if you're used to that structure. Is this tune? So yeah, let's play it and let's do C major. So if we're playing C major chords, so we go from a minor. Slow that tune. Sounds more out of tune than that. Right? I think these strings might be shot. That's old school jazz. And then you can put 7 chords in there. Substitution, we're just add a 6 chord before the 1. No, after the 1. 2-5-1-6. Because the 6 and the 1 share 2 notes in common. So in C major, the 1 chord is C major, C, E, G, and the 6th chord is A minor, A, C, E. They have 2 notes in common, the C and the E. So functional harmony to me is when the chords are clearly pointing to other chords. This chord is clearly going. It could also go back to the minor chord as a tricky, deceptive cadence, whatever. Anyways, functional harmony, when the chords are clearly pointing in certain old school directions. I don't know if I have a good example of non-functional harmony. I'll just make something up, because anything you make up that doesn't make sense is non-functional. Right? It's like basically anything that isn't functional is non-functional. I just don't have a cool example. So I'm just going to do a bunch of dominant 7s and maybe other 7 chords and just move linearly. Non-functional. The chords are moving in a way that as you hear them kind of makes sense, but there's no clear direction. Like you didn't really know, other than me running out of space, you never really knew if I was going to go up or down, or was I going to change one note in a chord or multiple notes. Non-functional. I think you might also call that linear chromatic harmony.